Hey everyone! Thank you so much for joining me today on this free class, 5 Ways to Go from Burnt Out to Balanced in Your Creative Business. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to hang out with me today and learn. I would love to know who's all here. So many of you have sent sweet messages on Instagram that you'll be tuning in, so whether we've chatted or not, get engaged and in the chat box let me know who you are, where you're listening in from, and whether or not you are full-time or part-time in your business and what you do, because I know we have a bunch of different types of creative entrepreneurs on this today. But before we go any further, I just wanted to introduce myself and say hello. If you don't know who I am, welcome. I'm Laura and I'm so pumped to be hanging out with you today. I have so much content to share with you, so I hope you have your favorite pen, notebook, and glass of your favorite beverage handy. If you don't know who I am, I'm Laura, the owner of Laura Lee Photography and Laura Lee Creative. I'm an educator and mentor for photographers and creative entrepreneurs with all things workflow, systems, productivity, business, and working smarter. I'm also a wedding and brand photographer for creative and adventurous hearts and believe I have the best job in the world on both accounts. Every day I wake up more fired up than the last because I know I have the ability to help people build a business and life that they love. And I'm here to prove on this talk and in every day of my business that creatives can achieve work-life balance and grow successful, profitable businesses at the same time. When I'm not working, I'm usually exploring some beautiful part of the world, documenting and collecting as many wonderful memories as I can, and I am obsessed with anything that requires me to be outside and active on a mountain or in the water, all the better. Skiing and paddleboarding are my top 2 faves, and at weddings you will most often find me starting dance circles and doing the worm or the running man or trying to floss because I have really terrible dance moves and I love showing them off anytime possible and just kind of making a fool of myself. Can I get an amen for that? Alright, so before we dive in, I just want to give you a quick agenda of what you can expect to learn today. I'm going to be sharing some of my best tips for finding balance in your life as a business owner. In 2016, I ended up doubling my revenue from the year before while cutting my work week by 35 hours. As of now, I've booked over $135,000 in word-of-mouth referrals because of the systems and processes I've put in place for my business. So my business is still thriving, and yet I have tons of balance in my life. So more specifically, we are going to talk about 13 big mistakes you're making that are taking up all of your time, the 5 pillars to finally finding work-life balance, the biggest change I made in my business to save hundreds of hours a year, and how to take control of your time and stop letting your business run you. As creative entrepreneurs, we wear about 100 hats: photographer, editor, marketer, emailer, administrative assistant, CEO, CFO, bookkeeper, accountant, the list goes on. It's no wonder we're often left tired, overwhelmed, and paralyzed by everything we have on our plates. The stresses of owning a small business are very real, from getting client work delivered on time to making sure we bring in enough work to stay afloat. There are a million tasks weighing on us on a daily basis. And if I had to guess, you're tired of being pulled in a million different directions by your own business. You know deep down that you are capable of making more money and experiencing success, and you've seen others have freedom as business owners and find balance in their life, so you know that it's possible, but maybe you doubt it is possible for yourself. I mean, look, you've gotten this far, but maybe you find yourself spinning your wheels, filling your days with busy tasks, and working around the clock only to end up exhausted and on the brink of burnout. But I'm gonna guess you didn't start a business to feel overwhelmed and directionless. You started your business so that you could find purpose, freedom, and profit by doing something you love, serving incredible clients, filling your heart with fulfillment and joy. You started your business because you craved more balance and white space in your days and your life, and what ended up happening was swapping a 9-to-5 job for a 24/7 one. Today we're going to fix that, and the first thing I want to dive into is burnout, because we need to label what it is we're trying to transform ourselves from. Are you on the verge of burnout? According to dictionary.com, burnout is defined as burnout, to ruin one's health or become completely exhausted through overwork. Synonyms are working too hard, running oneself into the ground, wearing oneself to a shadow, working your fingers to the bone, driving yourself into the ground, blood, sweat, and tears, working day and night, burning the candle at both ends, burning the midnight oil, overtaxing yourself, doing too much, overdoing it, straining yourself, overburdening yourself, overloading yourself, and pushing yourself too hard. Basically, just getting downright exhausted and overwhelmed from everything on your plate. And what's crazy is that according to a recent study by Zero, the majority of small businesses, 77% in fact, feel the effects of burnout at work at least some of the time. And an overwhelming amount of millennials ages 18 to 34, which I'm gonna guess is a big majority of you watching this today, 94% of millennials felt burned out at least some of the time. Businesses from around 2 years to 10 years experience the highest burnout at 86%, but once the business passes the 10-year mark, it gets better. So guys, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But just kidding. We are going to kill these statistics. I don't want you to be one of these statistics. So we are going to talk today about how to find balance. But honestly, look at these numbers. 77%, 94% of millennials, and 86% of businesses from 2 to 10 years. That's crazy, friends. So let's unpack this a little bit more. As I go through the signs of burnout on the next slide, I want you guys to interact and leave a Y or a yes or an exclamation point in the comments if your business has ever left you feeling this way. Here are the signs you're burnt out or on the road to it. Number 1, you're exhausted. 2, you're overwhelmed by everything on your plate. You're complaining about good things. You have brain fog more often than not. Your passion is lessening in your business. You never shut your business mind off, even when you're not working. You can't sleep. You might have health issues, and you keep using the excuse, I'm too busy, with friends and family. Leave me a Y or a yes in the comments if your business has caused any of that for you in the amount of time that you have been open as a business. What if we could avoid that altogether? What if instead of burning out, we did the exact opposite? We found balance. Instead of feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, unpassionate, frazzled, and busy all the time, we felt energized, organized, lit up with passion, focused, and balanced. Wouldn't that make our lives indefinitely better? Drop a little heart in the comments if the latter sounds way better to you, because it's possible, friends. And now we're going to dive into how to do all of that. So, first, I want to go through big mistakes taking up all of your time. The first thing we need to take control of in our life is our time. The reason we feel burnt out or like we're drowning in work is because we don't have control of our own time. In this technology-driven world, there are millions of things to distract us from the important things that we need to do in our business, and I want to go over a few of the biggest time wasters today so that you can see where all your time is going, because honestly, it's like, the 24 hours goes so fast, and I know so many entrepreneurs I talk to just say, I wish I just had more hours in the day or more days in the week so that I could finally catch up, or maybe I just wish I had a pause button or a rewind button so I could finally catch up on work. So here are some big time wasters. Number 1 is distraction. So this would be phone notifications, Netflix, social media, any streaming service, and your email. So with your phone, I highly recommend turning off all notifications on your phone. The only notifications I recommend having are texts and calls. No social media, no messenger, and definitely no email notifications on your phone. According to a stat from Simply Orderly, typical US workers are interrupted by communication technology every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes, you guys, that's crazy. The second big distraction, of course, we know is social media. In fact, a study suggests from Inc.com that we spend an average of 118 minutes per day on social media in America. So let's not waste all our time. Let's not waste 1/12 of our day. That's crazy. 1/12 of our day on social media. Let's not do that. Let's instead live our life. So I recommend a few things for eliminating the social media distraction. Number 1, set up time constraints using an app like Freedom to block you from social media during work hours. Number 2, delete Facebook from your phone completely. Seriously, think about the last time you actually got any joy from it. Number 3, use Newsfeed Eradicator for Facebook. It's a Chrome plugin to hide the newsfeed so you can go in and go out of Facebook doing what you need to do without seeing everybody's newsfeed. And number 4, use a social media scheduling tool that you can connect and auto post with so you don't actually even have to go into the app itself. And number 5, dedicate specific time blocks for social media and be intentional with your time on there. The next distraction is Netflix or streaming services. So my gosh, you guys, if you watch Netflix or any sort of streaming service while you work, please do yourself and do me a favor and quit that cold turkey. The reason you never get through your to-do list is because you're only ever partially focused. You will save hours and hours and hours of time if you could just learn to focus on the one task at hand. So save work hours for work and personal hours for Netflix. The next biggest distraction is email. And friends, you do not need to be constantly checking your email. It's been found, this is crazy, that the average employee checks his or her email 36 times an hour. That is quoted from Inc.com. That blew my mind, but also wasn't really surprised by it. I recommend checking it 2 to 3 times a day, once mid-morning after your most important task is done, once after lunch, and once before the day is done. If there's a real emergency, someone will call you, but email should not be treated like a text message. The next huge time waster is doing everything manually, aka not having any automation set up. There are so many apps out there that will help you automate small and large tasks in your business. We're going to get into this later in the talk, so I won't go in depth now, but doing everything manually is a huge time waster in your business. A stat from Mobile Technology Products says that using the correct organizational tools can improve time management by 38%. Crazy. The next time waster is reinventing the wheel with no system. So we're going to get into this in a few minutes. The next one is trying to do everything yourself. Like raising a child, they say it takes a village, and so does running your business. Stop feeling like you have to do it all yourself. The next time waster is focusing on the wrong tasks, the urgent and the unimportant tasks. We do this because these are the easy tasks, and we're going to get more into what that means later in this talk, but how many times do you check your email or post to Instagram because that's the easy task instead of doing the big hard task that's actually going to push your business forward? It's called procrastination. The next time waster is not having clear deadlines, boundaries, or direction. We're going to get into that a little more. And then multitasking. A quote from University of Michigan says that multitasking decreases productivity by 20 to 40% more than those who focus on one project at a time. The time lost switching among tasks increases the complexity of those tasks, and our brains are just not wired to actually multitask. Looking for files is another huge time waster. The typical executive wastes 150 hours a year, aka almost an entire month, searching for lost information. For someone earning $50,000 a year, that loss is equivalent to $3,842 annually in time wasted searching for files. And Americans as a whole waste more than 9 million hours each day looking for lost and misplaced articles. 55% of consumers polled said that they would save up to 1 hour a day if they were more organized, which equates to 15 days a year. The next time waster is cleaning your house. The National Soap and Detergent Association says that getting rid of clutter would eliminate 40% of housework in the average home, and you guys, this is so true. I have been taking a course on decluttering, and I have decluttered my room, my bathroom, my guest room, and my office, and now everything has a home, and cleaning up is so easy. It doesn't take me all day long to clean the house. The next time waster is being a perfectionist. Perfectionism costs 50% or more of the total effort required to squeeze out the last 10% of quality. So do yourself a favor and grasp that done is better than perfect mentality. Unnecessary meetings are another huge time waster. My philosophy is if it doesn't have an agenda, don't have the meeting. The next thing is overwhelm paralysis and procrastinating. We waste 40% of our workday because we were never taught the organizational skills to cope with increasing workloads and demands. And overwhelm paralysis happens when our to-do lists are super, super long. We don't know where to start, so we just procrastinate and again go back to doing those easy tasks. And the last big time waster is saying yes to too many things, which is self-explanatory. And before we jump in to the core pillars to help you achieve balance in your life, I have to share an amazing excerpt from Rachel Hollis's new book, Girl, Stop Apologizing. This page stopped me in my tracks, and I've highlighted it, read through it dozens of times, shared it with friends, and basically want to frame it on my wall, so I had to share it with you today on this talk because it perfectly leads into finding balance. Rachel Hollis says, imagine that you are a glass vase and you're standing up tall and someone is pouring water into you. That water is everything you could possibly need to survive. So you, as the glass vase, are filled with life and energy and nutrients and love and joy, all of the good things. But we women often don't think about ourselves as much as we worry about everyone else, so we try and lean over. We tip our vases forward and backward and side to side so that the good things we're receiving will spill out to those around us. We give some to our children, or our coworkers, our parents, or our friends. We keep tipping ourselves over. We tip a little bit here, we spill a little bit there, and eventually the vase falls over and breaks into 1,000 pieces. We spend so much effort trying to take care of others that we destroy ourselves in the process. But here's the incredible thing. If you're a vase and you just stand up tall and proud on a firm foundation, if you just take in all the things that are being poured into you, what will eventually happen to the water in the vase? It will overflow and spill out to everyone around you. I know this is one of those things we hear all the time and you're like, yeah, I got it. I'm here to tell you no. No, you don't. You don't. I'm challenging you right now. If you are uncomfortable, if you are aching, if you are tired, if you are anxious, if you are depressed, and if you are suffering in any way, you're not standing firmly on a strong foundation and letting your vase overflow. You're not setting yourself up for success, but you can. Rachel Hollis, Girl, Stop Apologizing. Highly, highly recommend that book if you haven't picked it up yet. And that perfectly leads us into setting up a foundation for our business and our life to find balance. So we are now going to dive into the 5 pillars of actually finding balance in your life and business. Part 1 is master your time, prioritize, and become efficient. We're going to go through a few practical ways to do this in the next few slides. First thing is batch your tasks. This simply means doing similar tasks all together. If you have 2 blog posts to write for the week, try and do them both on the same day. It can be really difficult to switch our brains sometimes between different types of tasks, and it's just not efficient at all to do certain tasks every day. The purpose of batching your tasks is to get into the flow state and be fully absorbed in the activity that you're doing. The brain doesn't have to switch context between different types of tasks like writing and finances because we use different parts of the brain for all these tasks, and it's much, much easier on the actual muscles of our brain to get into the flow state and just, get in the writing zone, get in the finance zone. So schedule into your calendar to do batch similar tasks together. You'll notice here I have a few examples. scheduling your social media for a week or two at a time, creating a content calendar monthly so you don't have to be in brainstorm mode all the time thinking of blog posts or social media posts or newsletter posts, designing Canva graphics for upcoming newsletters or blog posts, meetings. I personally like to schedule all my meetings in a certain time chunk per day so that I can dedicate the rest of my time to getting work done. Writing newsletters or blog posts, cleaning up your email promotions tab, bookkeeping, taking flat lay photos of your blog or Instagram. My favorite home analogy of this is doing laundry. You would never do laundry for one sock, You're gonna wait until you have all the whites together or all the darks together or whatever. I'm actually doing laundry right now. And you wouldn't do one pant at a time or one t-shirt at a time. You're gonna wait until you have more so that you can batch your laundry. So that's my home example, and that's what you should be doing with the tasks in your business. You can also batch your days. So some ideas for batch days would be personal growth, marketing, client work days, product days, meeting days, finance and admin, rest, a content day, coaching call day, a team day, admin, networking, or a brainstorm day. The next section in managing and mastering our time is following a daily routine and restructuring your day so that it works for you. After growing up in a regulated schooling system where we're guided to follow rules and routines on a daily basis during the first 20 plus years of our lives, and then again in a 9-to-5 job, it's often hard when we switch to being full-time entrepreneurs because no one is creating a routine for us. We get to essentially work when we want, schedule our days when we want, watch Netflix as our heart desires if we're working, which I just told you not to do, so please don't. But nobody is there to tell us no. I think it's a really common struggle for entrepreneurs, so let's go over how to create a daily routine. Basically, you need to have a plan for your day and your weeks, your months, your year, your life. So step 1 is to make a list of all the tasks that you do daily, weekly, and monthly. Step 2 is to determine your energy levels throughout the day. I know I work better on big creative tasks in the morning or late at night. So I'm not going to check my email in the morning or late at night because that's my prime time to get big work done. Step 3 is determine the things that need to happen at a certain time each day, like bringing your kid to school or eating lunch or going to a workout class that you love. Step 4 is to build in time for your big projects and goals that push your business forward. So like I said, I take the mornings to do all the creative work in my business that's going to push my business forward. And then after I check my email, I can get into the day-to-day maintenance work of my business. Step 5 for your daily routine is to build in personal time. I like to build in things that I value and that I prioritize. So some of my values are adventure, gratitude, community, obviously my family and friends, and my fiance. And so I literally will take those things that I value and build in time for it. So my calendar might say go paddleboarding, go for a hike, go to the winery, go to Tuesdays Together meeting. So I build in flexibility and personal time into my daily routine. Step 6 is to choose your digital calendar system. I use Google Calendar. And step 7 is build in time blocks for batching those tasks that we went over. Personally, just a little anecdote, not too long ago, I started noticing that I was stacking all my meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It was literally 12 hours straight of client meetings and coaching calls, and I would be so exhausted from them that it would spill over to the next day where I'd be unproductive when I finally had a block of time to work. Now I changed my schedule and I restructured my day in a week to work from 8 to 3 with no meetings, have designated meeting times allowed from 3 to 5 Monday through Thursday, and 7 to 9 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday for wedding clients. And then I work out from 5 to 5:30, shower at 5:30, and eat at 6. Then the rest of my night is open for whatever I want, whether it be working, date night, reading, hanging out by the fire pit, whatever it is I want to do. Restructuring my day to my energy levels was a complete game changer for me. The third part of mastering your time, becoming efficient and productive, is protecting your time. So I just have 3 tips here. Number 1, don't check your email in the morning, because automatically you're going to be hit with a million, fires that you need to put out and react to, and more to-dos to add to your to-do list. So don't check your email in the morning. I recommend checking it 2 to 3 times a day, but focus on big, creative, important work in the morning if that's when your energy levels are good. You can just take a quick sip of water. And number 2, I've said this twice already, but it's so important. Cut out your distractions. Turn your notifications off on your phone. Better yet, put your phone on Do Not Disturb mode. And one of the apps I love is called Focus Keeper, and it uses the Pomodoro method of productivity, which is 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and it will open up a timer on your phone, and I actually just open that up on my phone and I work, and I don't ever want to go into my phone because I don't want to break the timer going. So it gives you a time to work and a time to be distracted. 5 minutes to go check your notifications during your break time. And third, track your time and find your bottlenecks. The more time you free up, the more money you can make. Your time as a creative is so valuable. The more time you can spend focusing on the things that really help move the needle forward in your business and move the needle forward on your income, the better. Part 4 of this is prioritize your tasks and activities. Prioritize the important tasks over the urgent tasks. For example, it was really important for me to write this talk, create the slides, record this talk. My inbox is full of certificates of insurance and contracts that I need to sign, but that can wait a few days until my important tasks are done. Second tip on this is to become proactive. So this means every time a client asks you a question in your business, figure out if you can become more proactive in that approach to avoid that question in the future. We're going to get into that a little more. Third tip is schedule your personal time in your calendar and find an accountability buddy. Right now I'm doing a 6-week workout program. My best friend is a health coach, and we have a group. I think there's about 17 of us, and I have a dedicated time at 5 p.m. to work, kind of sweat off the day and all the emotions of the day, and then shower and eat dinner at 6 o'clock, leaving the rest of the night to myself. And that accountability group, to have that time for me, has been absolutely huge. And the last tip in this section is to set deadlines and time limits on your tasks. One of my favorite productivity hacks is setting timelines and deadlines for tasks and projects in my business. It can be a broad deadline, such as the day it's due, or I encourage you to make timed deadlines for tasks to help you stay focused. I call this beating the clock. So I set a timer for, say, 25 minutes, and I try to complete that task or get a certain portion of it done before the timer is up. My favorite example of this was actually an ice climbing movie where the climber, sad story, climber had to cut his rope to save his partner and fell over 100 feet. He crashed through a layer of ice which broke his fall, and he ended up hitting snow. He didn't die, but he broke his leg in multiple places, but ultimately survived. His partner, who thought he was dead, went back to their base camp as there was no way of retrieving his body. The fallen climber stinted his leg and set a 10-minute timer over and over and over again, forcing himself to just make it to that rock right there. Time and again, he made it all the way to base camp 5 days later. Growing up in standardized school districts and then again at jobs, we learn the importance of deadlines and turning our homework or projects or papers in on time. Therefore, as entrepreneurs, it's important to practice the same methodology with your tasks and projects in order to get things done and moving forward. I do this with literally every task in my business and my life, literally down to folding laundry and cleaning my room. Honestly, think about this. Think about how quick you can clean your house if somebody is coming over in 20 minutes versus if you have all day long to do it. Or packing. Packing for a vacation, if I start packing 3 days before vacation, it'll take me 3 days to pack. If I start packing an hour before vacation, it'll take me an hour to pack. Your task is going to take up the amount of time you allot for it. One of my favorite things to do now is set up a daily to-do list by the minute. So I have the exact amount of time allotted for the task written next to it, and I race to get it done by that time. This has helped me not get overwhelmed by the length of my to-do list, be realistic with what I can do in a day, and stop multitasking because I know I have dedicated time to the task later on. So an example is on the screen of, from 7 to 7:15, make and eat breakfast, 7:15 to 7:45, workout, 7:45 to 8, shower, 8 to 8:30, write a wedding blog, etc., so on and so forth. Pillar number 2 of finding balance is don't reinvent the wheel. If I could make one thing stick with you guys today, it would be this. Do it once, use it forever. In our small business, this relates to email templates. I recommend creating Gmail canned responses for the emails that you don't send through a CRM, and then also using the template section of your client management system, whether that's Honeybook or 17 Hats or Tave or Dubsado, any of the CRMs out there. Use the template section in this and create email templates. I have over 250 email templates between both of my businesses, so I rarely have to write out actual emails. Questionnaires would be the next thing to create. These will give you valuable information about your clients all in one place, and it amazes me how many people don't use them. I use 5 questionnaires throughout my wedding process with my wedding photography clients, and then I use these questionnaires to help me create the timeline and the family formal list, but I also use the questionnaires to write the blog post, and then I use the blog post to write social media posts. Repurpose your work. Again, do it once, use it forever. The third thing I do is I create client education emails. So again, be proactive with your FAQs, put them into blogs, into emails, or a guide for your clients to eliminate any FAQs that you've answered from past clients coming into your inbox. Build an automated workflow for each client and input it into your CRM so that you follow an exact process every time you get a new client. And then write out your processes so someone can take them over, which we're going to go over in the next section. I create video processes using Loom and written processes using Process Street, which I have on the slide here. And then you can just see like a image example of one of the very, very, very beginning of my wedding photography workflow. There's actually 164 steps in there. You can see 6 steps right there. But for reference, just to show you how much time we spend emailing, I send about 95 emails to clients throughout the wedding process, between the wedding, engagement session, designing their album, and communicating with their vendors. I have a template for every single one of them and have them built into my workflow. So I'm always sending these emails proactively. And as you can see here, this email goes out 0 days, my thank you for booking email goes out 0 days after I get the signed contract and retainer. So all of this is automated in an incredible, easy to use system. And in my course, Photography Workflow Mastery, I teach the entire workflow, process, efficiency hacks, and more to make sure you're never reinventing the wheel again. It includes all my questionnaires, an option to get all of my email templates, and I love, love, love seeing people go through the course and have breakthroughs in their business and their lives. One of my students actually told me the other day that she has so much free time now, she doesn't know what to do with it, and asked if I could make a course on what to do with your free time once you take photography workflow mastery. But joking aside, let's dive into pillar 3, my favorite one, which is designing workflows, systems, and processes. Here's a little funny GIF for you. Hopefully there are some Friends fans on here. If so, let me know in the comments if you've seen this episode. My favorite Friends episode is when Monica is trying to bake cookies like Phoebe's grandma used to. She goes through 17 batches of cookies, never getting it right until she asks Phoebe if she happens to know where her grandma got the recipe. In a French accent, Phoebe says, "Nestlé Toolhausa," and Monica freaks out about spending 2 days baking cookies when the recipe was on the back of the chocolate chip bag the whole time. As you can see, Monica's reaction here, Nestlé Toolhouse, which Phoebe replies, "Oh, you Americans always butcher the French language." But that's the lesson here. When we don't have workflows and systems and recipes for how we run things in our business, we waste time and we become inefficient. So think of your workflows and systems like a recipe. The workflows are the ingredients, and the system is what to do with those ingredients. And just like in this Friends episode, in order for it to actually work, you need to write it out. A great workflow needs to be repeatable, easy to follow, automated. It has to do the thinking for you. It needs to be consistent, be easy to train somebody on, be detailed enough that steps aren't missed or forgotten. It needs to make you more efficient, have due dates, be valuable for both you and your client, and of course, like I said on the last slide, be written out. So let's go over how to actually create workflows. What should be included in your workflow? So first, I like to just go through with my students all the things that should actually be included in your workflow, because this is super important for the next process of how to actually create it. So what should be included is chapter headings or stages. So I like to view workflows in sections or stages. I think of these as like book chapter titles for your workflow. So this might be the inquiry process, the booking process, pre-wedding prep, post-production, album design. The next thing is tasks. These would be the main things under each chapter, the umbrella that essentially holds all the subtasks for each section. So for photographers, an example, if post-production was your chapter heading, a task might be blogging, culling, or editing. Then you're going to have subtasks. Examples of subtasks under the blogging task would be title the blog for SEO, input keywords and alt text, select your featured image, write social media posts to share the blog stomp your images, write the blog. Lots of subtasks that go into these bigger tasks, and the reason that so many people don't blog or get overwhelmed with editing is because you're not breaking it up into subtasks and you don't have a solid system to make it efficient. The next thing that all your workflows need to include is due dates. You need due dates on your tasks and your subtasks throughout your workflow to help you stay on track and diligent in your performance during projects. If you use something such as Asana, Todoist, Trello, or Honeybook, or any type of CRM, you can set due dates on every task, email, etc. in your workflow. The next thing is assignees. It basically just means who is doing what in your workflow. Client education should also be included in your workflow. Like I said, a great workflow includes value for both you and your clients. Any email communication that you send to your client should go in your workflow, templated out to save time. Any client documents you need to send, such as questionnaires, pricing guides, brochures and quotes, wedding guides, and then what client gifts you send and when, and client meetings during the process. Just think about, if you're a wedding photographer or just any type of creative entrepreneur, how many tasks you do in your business that are all just swimming around in your head. It is so important to get them written out in a workflow. I can't even tell you how much time you will save if you do this in your business. So now that you know what a workflow should include, we're going to go through how to create a workflow. So the first thing is write out your sections or stages. So again, these are the chapters of your workflow. Might be the inquiry process, booking process, onboarding process, pre-engagement session prep, shooting the engagement session, post-production. These are your sections or stages. Step 2 is filling in the sections or stages. So each section is going to have multiple tasks, subtasks, emails, questionnaires, etc. Not every section will have all 12 things, but I recommend printing out the things that should be included in your workflow and see what tasks need to go into each chapter. Step 3 is assign due dates. So once you have your workflow written out, you can go through and determine when each task, subtask, email, questionnaire, etc. needs to be completed. Your due dates can be based on 3 major things: when a previous task is complete, when the workflow is activated, or before or after the project date. Step 4 is determining who does what. So once you have it all written out, it's going to be super easy to go through each step and see what you can outsource or delegate to somebody on your team. You can do this by color coding, or if you use Asana or a CRM where you can assign tasks to people, that is gold, and I highly recommend doing that. Step 5 is determine where tasks and subtasks can be made more efficient. So now that you have the checklist foundation of your workflow, you can go through and see where every task can be made more efficient, whether you can create templates, if somebody else can do it for you, if there's a software, app, or automation that you can use to help eliminate busy work, if you can learn a keyboard shortcut to make it go faster, or if you can batch it with other similar tasks. Step 6 is determine where you can add value to the client experience through each stage. So I just like to ask myself questions in each section. How can I add better client touch points throughout the stage? Where can I add good marketing? Where can I surprise or delight my client? What questions can I answer proactively that will make them have a better experience? And what parts of the process do I have little communication with them that I can reach out and stay top of mind? Essentially, how can I wow my clients? Step 7 is to automate and input your workflow into a CRM or task management system. So once it's all designed, I recommend putting it into something like Honeybook or Asana or Trello or Dubsado or Tave, whatever you use to manage all of your clients. And this allows you to manage multiple clients and projects efficiently and easily. I personally use Honeybook, and I have all my workflows, email templates, questionnaires, brochures, everything hosted on the platform, and all I need to do is apply the workflow to each client, and it'll give me a task list every single day when I log in automatically of what I have to do across all 72 to 100 active projects at any given time. And the last step, this is optional but highly recommended, is once you go through the previous 7 steps, write your procedure manual. This means turning it into a process, whether it's video or written, that a team member can follow. I go all about this in depth in the course of how to create processes in my course, Photography Workflow Mastery, and I go way more in depth about all these 8 steps in the course as well, but this is the speediest version that I can give you guys today. A few workflows you can create are the photography processes, blogging processes, newsletter writing, emails, answering leads, your social media routine, editing videos, hosting a Facebook Live. So those are just some examples of workflows you can create. Pillar 4 is to get automated or partially automated. The beautiful thing about technology is that it eliminates busy work from our days if we use it the right way. There are so many little 5-minute tasks we should be automating to free up our time. Here are a few. Emails, questionnaires, and documents that we send to clients. Scheduling appointments, payment reminders, social media posting, and task list creation. You can use apps like Calendly, CoSchedule, Planoly, Meet Edgar, Honeybook, or any other CRM to automate these things. And Zapier and IFTTT are 2 apps that will connect your other apps to talk together and create automations for you. Pillar 5 is focus on strengths and what works for you. I love this section. There are a lot of things that hold us back from focusing on our strengths and starting to outsource, and that might be fear, comparison, FOMO, letting go of control, the need to feel busy. It's a real thing, but this pillar to balance is gold. The lesson at its core is ask for help, and here's how we're going to do that. The first thing I want you to do is define your zone of genius, your zone of competence, and your zone of incompetence. If you've never heard these terms before, your zone of genius are activities that are extremely fulfilling and fun to you, and also what you're world class at. What are you going to become the best in the world at? You can do it all day long without being paid, and you're great at it. Your zone of competence includes activities you've been doing that you're pretty good at, but there isn't a need for you to do it. There's no potential or desire to become world class at this because it's not in your interest. 6-figure entrepreneurs spend the majority of their time there, and 7-figure entrepreneurs spend the majority of their time in their zone of genius. Your zone of incompetence is things you're not good at. You have no interest in doing, they're not fun for you, and most businesses that fail focus their time there. In 6-figure businesses, either they aren't being done or they aren't being done well, or they're being outsourced. For me, these are things like bookkeeping, accounting, taxes, pretty much anything to do with finances I outsource in my business. Then I want you to think about activities within these criteria. 1, what pushes your business forward? 2, what produces income? 3, what do you love to do? And 4, is the activity or task in your zone of genius, competence, or incompetence? Then I want you to delegate, delete, and outsource the parts of your business that don't hit one of those criteria. And you're not going to go outsourcing literally every single thing you don't like in your business right away, but slowly start to let things go in your business and give up some control so that you can start to do the things that really light a fire in your heart in your business. And finally, focus on what works for you in your business. And by that, I mean your marketing plan, mostly. Every business needs a marketing plan, and every business is going to be different. I encourage you to map out where all your past and current clients have come from and capitalize on the marketing efforts that got you the best results. Also, focus on the marketing you love to do. Done the right way, any platform can work for your business, but find what works for you and maximize that. Maybe it's styled shoots or Instagram. Maybe you want to be or are a Pinterest ninja. Maybe it's paid ads or vendor marketing or SEO and blogging. Find your marketing strengths and don't half-ass 10 different strategies. I made a map of where every client has come from since 2013, and for me, Facebook and word of mouth beat everything else out by 10 times. This allowed me to stop worrying about posting to Instagram constantly and focus on the things that worked for me. Everyone's business and strengths are different, so I highly encourage you and beg you to find yours. Some questions to ask yourself are: where are your clients coming from? What marketing do you love to do? What's fruitful for your business? And then focus on that and go all in. I'm going to take a quick sip of water before we finish up. Right. I couldn't leave without giving you guys a quick bonus section. Organization and task management is one of the other super big pillars of balance, but when I titled the talk, I said 5 pillars, and then when I wrote the talk, I had more than 5. So organization and task management. The top 2 tools I use for my business are Honeybook and Asana. While Honeybook houses all my client workflows, contracts, questionnaires, emails, and more, client work is only a small part of my business and my life. There's new websites, rebranding, working on wedding guides, planning retreats, personal dreams and goals, and so much more. I use Asana to keep track of all of that, from income goals, business goals, personal aspirations, general admin tasks, and non-client projects, big and small. Asana tracks it all. So seriously, ditch your Post-it notes, your 5 different notebooks, your notes app, and anywhere else you have things scattered, and get your business organized in one place. I always joke that my entire brain is in Asana, but it's so true. I highly, highly recommend and beg of you to use a project and task management system like this to brain dump the goals and dreams you have for your life and business and break them down here so you have a clear direction of where you're going. I literally would not survive without Asana or HoneyBook, and my students have had mind-blowing results in their business and their life when they started using it. It's something I teach in my course and have a mini course on, but I truly couldn't live without it. Some of my other most used business tools are Calendly for scheduling meetings, Google Drive, Airtable, and Shift. And lastly, I just wanted to give you a few more rapid-fire tips for finding balance in your life. First, prioritize your time. I know we talked about this, but there are going to be tasks that pull you in a million different directions, and they're going to be urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, or neither urgent nor important. So you need to figure out what tasks are the most important and urgent and focus on those first. And then focus on the important but not urgent, and then the urgent but not important, and then either delete or delegate the not urgent and not important tasks. 2, put personal time into your schedule, including time for your values, exercise, and self-care. 3, know your personality type and what fills you up. 4, make reasons to leave the office, like scheduling time to go to the gym or scheduling a date night so that you have an actual boundary of when you need to quit for the day. Get sleep. Schedule downtime. Say no. Know your why. Determine what's important to you. Don't take off more than you can chew. Take time off. Find your peak work times and overlap tasks, but don't multitask. So this might be having call meetings while you're driving or listening to Audible books in the car or in the shower. These are just some rapid fire ways to add balance to your life. But at the end of the day, focus on less. Your business should be designed to bring you freedom, success, fulfillment, and happiness. Spend your time doing things you love and focus on the things that push you forward towards your big dreams and goals, and cut out the rest, because busy is not the goal. Living intentionally, working with passion, and valuing what matters in both life and business is the goal. So focus on less. Declutter your to-do list. I promise you will go farther, faster by doing less better. You will find balance in your days, fulfillment in your life, purpose in your business, and joy in your heart if you set up your business foundation for success. Avoid the burnout. Don't be one of the statistics. You don't have to sacrifice a personal life for success in business, and I'm living proof of that. I promise it's possible for you too. And if you want more where all that came from, I know that was a lot to think about, so I have something that might help. If this talk has your brain going on and on about all the workflows you need to create and the email templates you need to write, and you are super jazzed up about saving time, getting your sanity back, having more freedom in your day-to-day life, and are ready to deliver a killer client experience while creating raving fans in your business and running it like a well-oiled machine, I have a super exciting announcement for all the photographers on here joining live or catching the replay of this talk. For over a year now, for 3 years now, I have been perfecting my workflow for photographers, and I have a course now that teaches exactly what I do in my business to get results like booking $135,000 in word-of-mouth referrals, increasing my referrals by 1,200% in a year, and working just 10 to 15 hours a week on my photography business during busy season. Hundreds of photographers had purchased my Wedding Photographer's Playbook for post-production, which is the complete guide that covers everything A to Z from after a wedding until delivery of the pictures. But this year and last year, I kicked it up a notch and launched my course that teaches everything from when a client inquires all the way through to their anniversary. I put it all into a course, and it's called Photography Workflow Mastery. In 10 modules, I cover productivity resources to maximize efficiency, how to design workflows for just about anything, mastering the inquiry process and actually booking your leads, how to create a seamless booking and onboarding experience, making client questionnaires work for you, engagement and portrait workflows, all the things for planning and prepping for the wedding day, post-processing bliss for happy clients, scaling your workflow so it's streamlined, automated, consistent, and repeatable for every client, and how to strategically start outsourcing. So here is what you get if you decide you want to enroll in Photography Workflow Mastery. The full course is valued at $999. You get workflow checklists for wedding workflow, portrait workflows, and your album design workflow. And the course has over, give or take, 100 videos on how to streamline, organize, and run your wedding or portrait photography business with ease, with all the necessary worksheets, checklists, procedures, and more to get your business fully efficient and automated in no time. You also get 5 questionnaires valued at $97 for relationship questionnaire, the wedding day questionnaire, a preliminary timeline questionnaire, an engagement session questionnaire, and a vendor questionnaire. You also get access to my best-selling product, the 135-page Wedding Photographer's Playbook, which is the complete guide to post-production. You get video modules of that in the course, but in case you like learning via reading as well, you get access to the playbook. You also get my entire procedure manual for post-production written out in Asana or Trello, so you can start training a team and delegating tasks right away. And of course, access to our private student Facebook group, which is a priceless value. The course is just $497 or 6 payments of $87. So if you're a photographer, wedding or portrait, and you're ready to go from overwhelmed to organized and stressed out to streamlined, this is the course that will give you freedom, sanity, success, and balance with your business without hustling 24/7. You'll pay a one-time payment of $497 for lifetime access to the checklist, procedures, how-tos, workflow templates, questionnaires, client education, videos, and knowledge I've gained over the last 6 years of running my photography business, from just 2 weddings a year at $500 a piece to 25 plus weddings a year with an average of $6,000 to $7,000 a piece. I'm sharing what to do, how to do it, when to do it, who and when to outsource, and how to deliver the best client experience possible while growing your business, making more profit, and working less. It has been an absolute honor talking with you guys, and I don't want this to turn into a big old sales pitch, but I didn't want you to miss out on this killer opportunity I've been working on for you guys behind the scenes. Hundreds of photographers have walked through my post-production process, and now almost 100 photographers have walked through the course and are saving up to 30 hours per week on their workload. And now I'm sharing all that knowledge in this course and multiplying my playbook by 10 with new information I've never shared before. I have loved talking with you guys about workflows and systems. My passion is to educate, equip, and empower creative business owners across the world with tools and knowledge they need to run sustainable, profitable, and thriving businesses without having to work around the clock or sacrifice time with your loved ones. Creating workflow and systems in my business is the number one change I made in my business to go from burnt out to balanced and drowning in to-dos to thriving in business within just a few weeks' time. So I hope that you will apply it to your own business so that you can see growth, abundance, and fulfillment in your everyday life and business. I would love to answer any questions you guys have had about all the content we talked about today, so fire them off and let's see if I can help you save time in your business. Thank you.